Your partner has quiet quit this relationship, and they have not told you because they do not know. That is not me being dramatic. That is the mechanism, and it is why this goes unnoticed in ordinary houses between decent people for years at a time. Everybody knows about quiet quitting at work. You stop caring, you keep showing up, you do exactly what the job requires and not one thing more. And nobody notices for months because on paper your output is fine. That same process happens in marriages. It happens in long relationships. And it produces the phase people have started calling the roommate phase. Two people who are perfectly polite to each other, perfectly functional, splitting the bills, splitting the week, and no longer actually in it. Here is what you need to understand before anything else. By the time you can feel the roommate phase, you are already in stage 3. There were 2 earlier stages, both of them silent, both of them visible if you knew what you were looking at, and both of them far, far easier to reverse. I am going to give you all 3, and at the end, I am going to give you a test that takes 14 days, costs you nothing, requires no conversation, no confrontation, and no confession from anybody, and tells you which of 2 situations you are actually in, because there are only 2, and the difference between them is everything. Do not skip ahead to it. I mean that practically, not as a retention trick. The test reads completely differently depending on which stage you are in, and if you run it from the wrong stage, you will misread the result and act on it. So stay with the stages first. Stage 1. They stop telling you the small things, not the big things. The big things keep arriving right on schedule, because the big things are obligations. The appointment, the money, what's happening on Sunday. Those get reported accurately and on time. And that is precisely why you miss this. On paper, communication is fine. Nothing has gone unanswered. Nothing is being hidden. What has gone missing is the trivia. The odd thing somebody said at work. The mild irritation about the neighbor's bins. The half-formed thought that used to get said out loud for no reason at all, except that you were the person it got said to. That is where trust dies first. In the trivia. Long before anybody stops loving you, they stop narrating their day to you. And they stop without ever deciding to. Nobody sat down and made that call. There was no evening where they waited up. So if you are sitting there waiting for the argument that tells you something has changed, understand what the argument actually is. It is not the beginning. It is a late symptom. By the time it arrives, you are 18 months behind it. Stage 2. The offer turns into the update. It used to be, do you mind if I'm late back? Now it is, I'll be late back. Nothing rude has happened. Nobody has been unkind. No line was crossed that you could point to. And if you raised it out loud, you would sound unhinged. Which is exactly why you have not raised it. But permission has collapsed into notification. And permission is a thing people only bother with while they still believe your answer changes something. When somebody stops asking, they have not become inconsiderate. They have quietly concluded that consulting you is a formality. Nobody says that. Nobody thinks it in words. It just stops happening. Stage 3. And this is the one that stings when you finally see it. They stop asking you questions about yourself. Curiosity is the maintenance cost of intimacy. It is the very first expense cut when somebody has concluded, without language, without malice, without ever consciously thinking it, that they already know what you are going to say. And when curiosity goes, the roommate phase starts, because that is all the roommate phase is. 2 people co-managing a household with the questions removed. Now look at the shape of all 3, because this is the part that actually matters. Nothing arrived.
In every single stage, something stopped. Small things stopped coming out. Permission stopped being asked. Questions stopped being put. There is no event anywhere in that sequence, and the human brain is built to register arrivals, not absences. You will notice a new phone password in a heartbeat. You will not notice, for 2 years, that nobody has asked how your day went. That is the entire reason this destroys good relationships between people who were paying attention. They were paying attention to the wrong category. Right. Before you go and audit the last 3 years of your life at 2 in the morning, understand this, because it is the whole reason I am telling you any of it. The small withdrawal is the reversible one. I am not softening the blow. That is the actual finding, and it is the most useful sentence in this video. The people who repair a relationship are almost never the people who fought hardest at the end. They are the people who caught something ordinary going missing while it was still ordinary, and moved then, while it was still cheap. Late is not hopeless, but early is cheap. At stage 1, this costs you 1 honest sentence and a fortnight of patience. At the roommate phase, it costs you a year of your life, several thousand in fees, and a decent chance you do not get it back anyway. Same problem. 2 prices. The only variable is how early you were willing to look. So why does it happen? Almost never for the reason you are lying awake about. Most withdrawal is not a verdict. It is drift. Somewhere back there, something small went wrong and never got repaired. They told you something and you were tired. Or you were on your phone. Or, and this is by far the most common one, and I want you to sit with it. You fixed it when they only wanted it heard. You gave them a solution, and they wanted a witness. They did not confront you. They did not raise it. They filed it. And the next small thing found the file already open, and the one after that, and the channel narrowed 1 notch at a time, over months, until the trivia simply stopped fitting through it.
And here is the part people cannot accept. The other person usually cannot tell you when it started either. Ask them straight out, and they will say they do not know, and they will mean it. That is not deception. Withdrawal is not a plan. Nobody drafts it. It is an accumulation, and accumulations have no first day. Ask anybody when they stopped enjoying a job they have been miserable in for 2 years, and you will get the same blank, honest answer. The mind does not timestamp erosion, which is exactly why demanding an explanation blows up in your face. You ask, "What's wrong?" They say, "Nothing's wrong." You hear a lie. They gave you the truth. Nothing is wrong in the way you mean it. Something is simply less, and less has no story attached. So when you demand the story, they either invent one to get you off their back, or they retreat from the pressure. Either way, the channel is narrower tonight than it was this morning, and you have just taught them that small, honest answers get met with interrogation. And now the mistake that finishes it, the one I need you to stop doing today if you are doing it. You start checking, reading the tone of a message 4 times over, noticing which nights the phone goes face down, working out whether the story about Thursday matches the story about last Thursday. Small tests, deniable ones, and you tell yourself you are only paying attention. Understand what surveillance actually communicates, because it communicates something with total precision. It says, "I no longer believe what you tell me, so I will collect evidence instead." And here is the trap inside it. Checking never resolves anything. Because ambiguity always survives the check. You find nothing. Nothing proves nothing. So you check again. It is a loop with no exit. It eats your sleep. It changes how you speak to them, and they feel every bit of it without being able to name it, which starts the exact same filing process on their side. Nobody in the history of the world has moved closer to another person by auditing them. You cannot inspect your way back into somebody's inner life. The looking is what shuts the door the rest of the way. So here is what works instead, and it is not the confrontation. Not the conversation where you lay out what you have noticed and ask them to account for it, because that converts a drift into a trial, and people defend themselves in trials. They do not open up in them. You will win the argument and lose the marriage. You reopen the channel from your side, deliberately, unilaterally, without telling them you are doing it. Which brings us to the test. 14 days. Here is exactly how it runs, and the details are not optional, so listen properly. You send small things through the channel, pointless things. The thing about the bloke on the bus, the thought you had in the queue, the song in the shop. Specifically, the ones you would normally swallow because they are not important enough to bother anybody with. 3 or 4 across a week, not 20 in an evening. You do it with no scorekeeping. And this is where nearly everybody ruins it. No pointed pause afterwards, waiting to see whether they reciprocate, because they will feel that pause. And the pause converts a gift into a demand, and demands get resisted. You say the pointless thing, and then you carry on with your evening as though nothing happened, because nothing did. Second half of the protocol. When they bring you anything, however small, you receive it without fixing it. No solution, no improvement, no diagnosis. You are not a help desk. Just acknowledge it and let it finish. And once in that fortnight, you ask them one question you genuinely cannot predict the answer to. Not, how was your day? Something specific and open that you do not already know the answer to. Then you wait 14 days. You expect absolutely nothing back, and you read the result. Because here it is. Drift responds to warmth. A decision does not. If what you have is accumulated distance, warmth pulls something back inside 2 weeks. A small return. An unimportant story offered without prompting. A question about you, out of nowhere. It will happen so quietly that you would miss it entirely if you were not watching for that exact thing. That is the channel reopening. And at stage 1 or 2, it reopens fast, because nothing was ever actually decided. And if nothing comes back, if the warmth lands and vanishes, 14 days running, then you are not looking at drift. You are looking at something that has already been concluded, and you now know that. Without one accusation on the record, without a single search of anybody's phone, and without having handed them a reason to become the injured party. That is the whole value of the test. It gives you the answer without costing you the relationship, if the answer is the good one. Confrontation cannot do that. Checking cannot do that. If this is landing, the easiest thing you can do is leave the video running and press the like button. That's it. Costs you nothing, and it puts this in front of somebody who still has the early version of this rather than the late one. Now, one question left, and most people dodge it because they already suspect the answer. Are you certain you are the one being withdrawn from? Withdrawal is very rarely one-directional. It is almost always a channel narrowing at both ends,
with each side only ever experiencing the other's half of it. So be honest. When did you last bring them something pointless? When did you last ask something you could not predict? When did you last let a story of theirs finish without solving it? Because the room has to be worth reporting to. If every small thing somebody brings you gets corrected, managed, improved, or diagnosed, they stop bringing you small things. Not out of resentment, out of efficiency. People take their trivia where it is received, the same way water takes the easiest route down a hill. That is not a moral failing in them, and it is not a character flaw in you. It is how attention works, and it means the fix was never about trying harder or loving harder. It is about becoming somewhere small things can safely land. And if it does come back, do not congratulate yourself and stop. That is how it narrowed the first time. The maintenance felt optional, because nothing was visibly wrong on any given evening, and nothing visibly wrong is precisely what erosion looks like from the inside. Trust is not a stake you arrive at and then own. It is a channel, and channels close when nothing is sent through them. If you want the longer version of why you talk yourself out of what you notice, why the sign sits in front of you for 2 years and you keep filing it under nothing, that is what the first book in the series is about. The link's below, and that is the one to start with. And if this felt like the kind of thinking you do not get much of anywhere else, subscribe. This channel is meant to be a quiet room in a loud world, and there are more of us in here than you would think. The sign is never the argument. It's the story they didn't bother telling you. Catch that one, and you almost never have to have the argument at all. Slow down, stay sharp,